Well, we made it. It's been a long 13 years. It's been a journey that has taken us from pulling pigtails in kindergarten to calculating the forces used in pulling those pigtails our senior year. That's elastic potential energy for all you physics kids. Anyhow, the fact that we made it here makes us officially awesome. Okay, maybe not as awesome as graduating from college, but hey, it's a start. Incidentally, the year 2013 is pretty awesome too. 2013 is the first year that all 4 digits can be rearranged into consecutive order, so 0, 1, 2, 3, since the year 1432, and the last time until the year 2103. 2013 is our golden year. We've been in school for 13 years, and we're graduating in 2013. Unless someone else is about 118 years old, the students of the class of 2013 are the only people who can say that. If we've gone to school for 177 days every year, we've spent a total of 2,103 days in school, which can be rearranged back into, yes, 2013. 2,103 days equates to approximately 257,712 man-hours spent in school for our class. That's enough to build 3.5 floors of the Empire State Building, meaning we've put in quite a lot of hard work graduating. Other than generally being awesome, we've also done some learning in our classes. During freshman year, we learned in Algebra 2 that being radical isn't extreme, it's just getting to the root of things. During our junior year, we learned in trigonometry some pretty good pickup lines, like, are you the sine of 90 degrees because you're the one for me? In English, we learned that every object in the book is a symbol with a deep meaning. For example, blue curtains inside a school could reflect the overarching existentialist theme of negative social economic development of lower class strata and its various effects of developing Western industrialized civilizations during the late 19th and 20th centuries. Another possibility could be that the author wrote of blue curtains because blue was her favorite color. But I could write a 3 to 5 page, 12-point Times New Roman double-spaced essay on the first option. Another thing we learned in English is never to ask Miss Stevens the difference between effect and affect. In physics, we learned that Einstein was indeed correct with his equation E equals mc squared. Embarrassment does equal the multitude of people who see a clumsy event squared. For example, my freshman year, I fell down in front of my entire gym class while performing the complicated maneuvers called warm-ups, or plyometrics for you savvy people out there. We were hopping all the way across the gym on our right foot, and I was about to finish when suddenly my shoelaces, which had been mysteriously double tied, got tangled up midair. As talented as I am in not falling on my face, I was not able to overcome that particular difficulty. As I lay on the ground listening to my classmates laugh at me, I noticed a pair of shoes just a couple inches away from my face. Shocked, I realized that I'd almost fallen on someone. I looked up from the pair of shoes to find none other than Mrs. Coolman, giving me the patented Mrs. Coolman look. I really couldn't tell if she was more concerned that I'd hurt myself or if she was more shocked that I'd almost fallen on her. Also in gym, we learned the physics of momentum. It doesn't turn out well for the skinny kid when he runs into a football lineman when playing soccer. In first aid, we learned the names of a lot of bones and muscles, which are fun to throw around in a casual conversation. For example, man, I think I formed a contusion on my brachioradialis. Or, then she slapped a zygomatic process. When I reflect back on high school, I realized that as much as I have learned in classes, there are some things a book cannot teach you. Specifically, 5 life lessons come to mind. 1, don't eat Teddy Grahams before you run, especially on a really cold day. 2, don't wear blue ties at speech and debate meets. 3, Wolfram Alpha is the best invention since SparkNotes. 4, don't expect your freshman crush to like you back, because she has standards. 5, friends are a man's best friend. No, seriously, friends are some of the most important people in your life. I've seen quite a few sayings about friends, but the 2 most memorable are a cowboy poem and a quilt. The first line of the cowboy poem reads as follows: a true friend knows your faults and doesn't give a darn. A friend should be your friend for real reasons, not for looks, not for favors, not for homework answers, but because you genuinely care about each other. A true friend should call you when you're sick and pester you when you haven't been to a B-day in 2 weeks. As the quilt in my hallway says, friends are like quilts. They age with you and never lose their warmth. Who else but a friend is going to give you a warm hug after you've made the mistake of eating Teddy Grahams at a cold cross-country meet? Now that we've learned what we've learned, you've probably realized that we really don't know all that much, and that's where college steps in. College has always been a far-off, distant dream for us. Where else can we stay up way past our bedtimes and watch scary movies late into the night? Naturally, the transition to college will bring some large changes with it. One of them will be doing our own laundry. So I've taken the liberty to provide you with some tips and tricks for this complicated chore. 1, when you spilled ketchup on your favorite green shirt, use lots of color-removing bleach to completely obliterate the stain and avoid looking like a walking Christmas tree. 2, take lots of shortcuts to save money by washing colors such as red with whites. 3, to look shockingly good, don't use fabric softener because it too is an unnecessary expensive item. Finally, to get perfect creases in your clothes, stuff them inside drawers unfolded because you could spend that time writing your English paper that's due tomorrow. Now that we've been dressed properly, it's time to select a major. Choosing something as important as a major can be a little scary at times. This is reflected by Billy Boyd as he's saying Mist and Shadow. The lyrics are as follows: home is behind, the world ahead. There are many paths to tread, through shadow to the edge of night until the stars are all alight. To figure out what career is right for each of us, I would urge all of you to find a major that pays well and is fun, or you'll be a miserable, albeit rich person. Instead, pick something that is meaningful to you. For example, I personally find anatomy fascinating, but I can never figure out why. You could say I can't put my finger on it. Just remember, you'll get skinned if you don't pick a major you absolutely love. With a career in mind, you'll need to figure out the best way to accomplish your goal. The most obvious way is studying, but there are other methods too. However, I have not discovered them yet, and so I'll tell you some things not to do in classes from personal experience. Do not pretend to be a professional procrastinator. Putting off a psychology term paper might just drive you nuts. Skipping chemistry labs will make you lose any bonding you may have had with your classmates. Failing to impress your home economics teacher will make you feel the irony. Skipping suggested homework in math is a risky calculation. Not pondering philosophical principles is definitely a bad maxim. Dishing cheesy puns is a disaster in culinary classes. And finally, don't be forced into doing someone else's physics homework. You should take your classes seriously, but try not to become overwhelmed by the sheer burden of all of them. A journey of 1,000 miles is completed one step at a time. When I run, I don't think of the entire distance, but of the stretch I'm currently on. I think about getting to the next bend, to the end of the bridge, or about the dog that is probably going to chase me. Remember that a meal is easier to take in small bites instead of shoving the entire plate down your throat. In much the same way, we should attack our lives in small chunks instead of thinking about midterms, finals, GREs, thesis papers, and 4 more years of schooling all at once. However, college is still a summer away, and we would do well to remember the things we have right now. We should remember our friends and all of their antics over the years. No, I still have not forgotten the time that Brianna Young, Cale Smith, and Cody Worthington ditched me in 4th grade at Casa Benitez on our trip to Denver. Other than that, I'd like to thank my friends for always being there for me when I needed it the most, and for putting up with all my cheesy puns. I'd also like to thank all the people who have made it possible for us to be here today. I can't possibly thank all of our teachers enough for what you've done. You guys really have made a difference in our lives, and we really appreciate it. I'd also like to thank our administrators like Mr. Hughes, Mr. Gray, and Mrs. Coolman for all the behind-the-scenes stuff that they do to keep our schools and activities running smoothly. I thank the secretaries for all the paperwork, phone calls, and for dealing with the clever seniors who want to go to doctor's appointments. I'd like to thank the custodial staff for dealing with our messes, especially since I'm a messy eater. I thank the bus drivers for being so skilled. You guys have gotten us to school and back safely, and I'm not joking when I say you could probably drive those buses through my front teeth. I'd like to thank our parents and families for always being so loving and supportive. We wouldn't be here right now if you weren't. Finally, I'd like to thank the choir for performing today, and the band for playing Pomp and Circumstance so many times for graduation. Other than that, since 90% of you have probably forgotten what I just said, here's a quick recap. We're awesome. Pick something that you enjoy doing, and remember who your friends are.